Trapped, upside down, deep inside a treacherous 10-inch wide passage within the confines of a dark, unforgiving cave system. For 27 agonizing hours, what should have been an exciting caving expedition for John Edward Jones and his family became a living nightmare. A desperate struggle for survival against the merciless forces of nature. Join me as we delve into the heartbreaking story of John Edward Jones and the unforgiving forces that would ultimately claim his life. But before we continue, we would like you guys to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell icon so you do not miss out on any amazing and entertaining content. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the Nutty Putty Cave, a treacherous underground wonder located in Utah, United States. This unique cave system was first discovered and explored back in 1960 by a group of adventurous cavers led by Dale Green. So, what exactly drew these early explorers to Nutty Putty? Well, the cave was named after the putty-like texture of the soft brown clay found throughout its winding passages. Green originally considered it Silly Putty, but ultimately settled on the catchier Nutty Putty name. As it turns out, this cave was formed by superheated water carving its way through the limestone, creating a complex network of chutes, tunnels, and chambers spanning over 1,400 feet. The intricate geology with its varied mineral compositions gave Nutty Putty a truly one-of-a-kind character that captivated cavers near and far. In the years that followed its discovery, Nutty Putty Cave became increasingly popular among both amateur and professional cavers. It drew thousands of adventure seekers, including many Boy Scout troops and college students, eager to explore its twists, turns, and tight crawl spaces. However, this growing popularity soon raised serious safety concerns. Between 1999 and 2004, the cave saw no fewer than 6 rescue operations, as cavers found themselves stuck in its panic-inducing passageways. These incidents occurred at some of the cave's most notorious features, such as the Helmet Eater, the Scout Eater, and the infamously named Birth Canal. Clearly, something had to be done to address the risks posed by Nutty Putty. In 2006, the authorities decided to take action and temporarily close the cave to the public. An in-depth study was commissioned, which revealed that the cave was receiving over 5,000 visitors per day, many of whom were entering late at night and failing to take proper safety precautions. The study also predicted that a fatality was imminent, particularly in the cave's Big Slide, a 45-degree room known for its treacherous conditions. To mitigate the dangers, the authorities installed a gate at the entrance in May of 2006, effectively shutting down public access to Nutty Putty. But the story doesn't end there. In 2009, the caving organization Timpanogos Grotto stepped in, determined to find a way to reopen the cave while ensuring the safety of visitors. They implemented an online reservation system, allowing only one group to explore the cave at a time. Additionally, they required each group to have at least 2 experienced cavers. For a time, this system seemed to work. Many cavers found the new restrictions challenging but manageable, and the cave was reopened to the public in May 2009. However, the frequent need for rescues continued, and authorities decided to implement an even stricter permit-style system to control access to the cave. Now, let's turn our attention to the tragic events that unfolded on November 24, 2009, a day that would forever change the story of Nutty Putty Cave. On that chilly Tuesday, just before Thanksgiving, a group of adventurers, including the Jones family, ventured deep into the heart of the cave system. Among them were John Edward Jones, a 26-year-old medical student with a passion for exploration, and his brother Josh. The Jones brothers were no strangers to caving. In fact, they considered themselves experienced cavers, having embarked on countless adventures with their father. However, John's enthusiasm for the sport had waned a bit in recent years, as he had become a newlywed, a father to a young daughter, and was expecting a second child in June. Despite this, the lure of the Nutty Putty Cave proved too strong to resist, and the Jones brothers, along with a few friends, set off on what they believed would be a routine caving expedition. Little did they know that their lives were about to take an unimaginable turn. The group started by exploring the expansive Big Slide chamber, But soon, John and Josh, along with the two others, decided to seek out a more challenging passage, the infamous birth canal. Squeezing through tight spaces and navigating the claustrophobic conditions, the brothers were determined to conquer this daunting challenge. John, ever the adventurer, took the lead and spotted what he thought was a promising opening. Excited by the prospect of discovering a new route, he squeezed himself headfirst into the tight confines, unaware that he had veered off course and entered an unmapped section of the cave near the Ed's Push area. It didn't take long for John to realize his grave mistake. Trapped in a narrow, 10-inch wide crevice, he found himself unable to turn around or wriggle back the way he had came. Pressing forward seemed to be his only option. But as he tried to reach a seemingly wider opening ahead, he made another critical error. Despite his previous caving experience, John disregarded a fundamental rule of the sport. He went headfirst into a tight, downward-sloping passage, believing it would widen out at the bottom and give him a chance to turn around. But sadly, this was not the case. As John exhaled to fit through the narrow opening, he found himself wedged in an upside-down position, his chest expanding and trapping him deeper inside the 8.5-inch wide crevice. With one arm pinned underneath him and the other forced back by a rock outcropping, he was completely helpless, suspended at a daunting 70-degree angle. Trapped below ground, John's innate caving instincts surged as he tried to maintain composure. He comprehended the situation had spiraled beyond his grasp. With every ticking moment, his optimism waned, and the confines of the enclosure appeared to constrict. He wrestled to free himself. Realizing the gravity of his situation, John shouted for his brother, Josh, who had been nearby. Josh immediately sprang into action, attempting to follow the same route in a desperate effort to free his sibling. But the unforgiving cave had other plans, pulling John deeper into its clutches with each passing moment. Try as he might, Josh could not reach his brother, who was now firmly wedged in the tight, unyielding confines of the crevice. The walls seemed to close in around John, leaving him feeling trapped and hopeless. Despite his best efforts to remain calm, panic began to set in as the realization dawned that he might not be able to free himself from this dire predicament. Witnessing his brother's feet flailing helplessly in the air and observing how completely engulfed he was by the rock, Josh realized the seriousness of the situation. With determination not to abandon his brother, Josh made multiple attempts to free him, and they prayed together fervently. However, it quickly became apparent to Josh that their efforts wouldn't suffice. Professional help was needed. Without hesitation, John swiftly exited the cave, wasting no time in seeking assistance. As the hours dragged on, John remained at the mercy of the cave's confines. Immobilized in a downward angle, the stress placed on John's body was palpable, his heart straining to maintain blood flow to his brain. When Susie, a local rescue volunteer, arrived on the scene around midnight, she wasted no time introducing herself and assessing John's condition. As they awaited the arrival of the main rescue team, Susie offered support. With each passing moment, the severity of the situation became increasingly evident, the challenges more daunting. John had endured over 3 agonizing hours inverted, his discomfort escalating with each passing minute. As the hours ticked by, the rescue team assembled and worked tirelessly to devise a plan to extricate John. They considered various options, including looping the cave walls, drilling through the rock, and even using a sophisticated rope and pulley system. However, the narrow confines of the cave system made bringing tools nearly impossible, and only small, wiry, and flexible rescuers could maneuver through the tight spaces. To add a layer of complexity to the problem, only one person could be with John at a time, making it even more challenging to free him quickly. The rescue team's frustration grew as they exhausted option after option, all while racing against time to keep John alive. The agonizing situation took a severe toll on John's physical and mental state. Trapped in an upside-down position, his body strained to pump blood against the pull of gravity, and he struggled to breathe as his organs pressed against his lungs. Despite his caving experience, he began to thrash in panic as the hours wore on, his hope dwindling with each passing moment. The rescuers worked through the night, their determination fueled by the desperate desire to save John's life. A chilling realization dawned upon them. Due to the tunnel's angle, attempting to bend John's body backward would likely result in the need to break his legs, something that could prove fatal given his weakened state. In the midst of the rescue efforts, a glimmer of hope emerged as the rescue team was able to establish a two-way radio connection between John and his wife. This heartwarming moment allowed the couple to share an emotional conversation, providing John with a much-needed sense of comfort and reassurance during his harrowing ordeal. Hearing the voice of his beloved, John's spirits were momentarily lifted, and he was reminded of the love and support that awaited him on the surface. This brief respite from the dire situation offered a poignant reminder of the deep humane connections that can transcend even the most daunting of circumstances. However, the rescue efforts continued to be plagued by setbacks and challenges. At long last, the breakthrough they had been anxiously anticipating arrived. The rescue team made the decision to implement a pulley system anchored to the walls of the tunnel using climbing cams with the aim of extracting John from the crevice. With 8 men working in synchronized harmony, they tried hoisting him up. Each tug on the rope elicited excruciating pain due to the heightened sensitivity of John's leg nerves. After 19 grueling hours had passed, John's legs were immobilized, rendering him unable to assist the team in keeping them to the side. With time running out, the prospect of breaking his legs to facilitate his release was considered. But the operation seems to be proceeding relatively smoothly, albeit slowly. Then, disaster struck. During the pulling effort, the rope snapped, causing a stone arch supporting it to fracture and a nearby key bolt to shear off, striking one of the rescuers, Ryan, in the face. The entire team was sent reeling backwards, and John was once again pulled deeper into the crevice, dashing the hopes that had momentarily been rekindled. With Ryan seriously injured and drained of energy, a replacement rescuer took his place, heightening the tension as they made desperate attempts to reach John once more. However, he remained unresponsive to their efforts to communicate with him. As the clock ticked and the odds stacked against them, Dave, Ryan's father, spent an hour re-establishing the pulley system. In an attempt to reattach the rope to John's body, he found himself trapped in the tunnel for nearly 15 minutes before managing to extricate himself. Exhausted and disheartened, the rescuers faced the grim reality. John had gone into cardiac arrest. Gathering just outside the narrow passage near Ed's push, the rescuers contemplated their options. With John showing no signs of response, they concluded that a medical professional would be needed to confirm his condition. At 11:56 on November 25th, John Edward Jones was declared deceased. Nutty Putty had claimed another victim, and its secrets would forever remain hidden. A testament to the unforgiving power of the natural world. The heartbreaking realization weighed heavily on the rescuers as they departed empty-handed. A total of 137 rescuers had dedicated themselves tirelessly to the mission, enduring 27 grueling hours in the face of their most formidable challenge yet. In the aftermath of this devastating incident, the rescuers were left to grapple with the weight of their failure, even as they knew they had done everything in their power to save John's life. The emotional toll of this tragedy was immense, as they faced the sobering realization that sometimes even the most heroic efforts are not enough to overcome the unrelenting forces of nature. In the wake of the devastating tragedy that unfolded, the authorities were faced with a difficult decision: what to do with the treacherous cave system. After careful deliberation and consultation with the caving community, they made the somber choice to permanently close the cave to the public. Recognizing the immense risk and liability associated with attempting to recover John's body from the cave's perilous depths, the authorities opted for a permanent solution. They determined that the safest course of action was to seal the cave's entrance with concrete, effectively sealing off the underground labyrinth and ensuring that no one would ever again venture into its unforgiving confines. The The closure of Nutty Putty Cave marked the end of an era for the caving enthusiasts, who had been drawn to its unique geological features and the thrill of exploration. However, the tragedy of John's death had cast a long shadow over the once popular destination, underscoring the inherent dangers that lie in wait for even the most experienced cavers. The legacy of John Edward Jones is one that will forever be intertwined with the story of Nutty Putty Cave. His family, devastated by the loss, had ensured that his memory lives on, with a plaque placed at the cave's entrance as a testament to his life and the sacrifices made in the desperate attempt to save him. As the concrete seal was poured and the entrance to Nutty Putty Cave was permanently closed, a sense of finality and loss settled over the region. The once vibrant and captivating cave system had been transformed into a memorial. In the years that followed, the Nutty Putty Cave incident would continue to resonate, inspiring discussions about risk management, emergency response protocols, and the balance between adventure and safety. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the tragic events at Nutty Putty Cave. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, be sure to leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay up to date on more captivating stories from the natural world.